Welcome back to part 6. We have, I think it's what, 16 days left till Helen?
16, 15.
Somewhere around there. We don't have a lot left. We had to finish up the fan setup, axle cups. We have our intake air box already in CAD. We have it with Send Cut Send. We have to put some trim on, put fluids in it, hook up the shift box, get the battery box in the trunk taken care of. It's not a lot left, but in 16 days between this car, customer cars, and then my car, which we'll take a look at in a second, there's still a lot of work to do. But if all works out, this car, the Mark III 1AT, and a bunch of our other Mark IIIs will all make it to Helen. Alright, we're going to go over the shift box and what we have to do to modify the Mark IV shift box to fit into the Mark III. Alright, on the Mark III shift box, these holes are too far in, so you have to modify it. What we did is we're going to cut a tab out of each side, and then on the front, the Mark III has a bolt up top, well, stud up top, that goes into the tunnel. What we're going to do is modify this hole and put a bracket underneath and connect it to the tunnel on the outside edge, just like we did in my Mark III. Probably been easier to do all this before we put the turbo and intake piping in. Alright, the shift linkage is all buckled up top. The joints are in place. All the bushings are in. And then we get down to the fun part. Let's see. So we drilled a hole here and here for two rivets. And then on the shift box itself, there's a hole up top. So we put a nut and bolt and the box is secure there. On the back, where we walled the two holes out to accept the two longer bolts. So the box is secure. And the shift box works perfectly fine. Alright, to use the 1.8T trans and the Cabrio, the Mark III, Mark II, to use the O2J, you have to use the O2A axle cups, which would be off of a, not O2A, I'm sorry, early Beetles, early Jettas, I think it's 99 through early 01. They have the smaller flange, which will allow you to use the factory Cabrio axles. If you're not sure which flange to look at, when you get to the junkyard, it's any one that's not a sealed, where the actual grease is in the cup itself.
You
see it counting?
Yeah.
Alright, we do have to pull the ball joint to get the cups in. When we pulled the engine the original time, we didn't undo the axles. I highly suggest you doing it. It makes it a lot easier underneath the car. And then all we gotta do is pull that out like that. We gotta pull this out. When it comes out just like that. So if you can tell, there's definitely a difference between that one and that one. It's a lot easier to get in. This might work out a little bit better. And once we get the ball joint out, we could slide the hub back a little bit, and we're able to get the axle to clear the frame and to go back into its home. All right, rotate. This one I can't do yet, so I gotta get that one bolt. Rotate. Rotate. Right there. Perfect. Tight like tiger. This should be the last time the wheels have to go on. Of course, we had to put Nick to work for a little bit. All right, now that the axle cups are done and the axles are in, we had a little mishap with the driver's side axle. For some reason, the bolt came out fine, but it was like there was one tooth on, one thread that was a little jacked, and it didn't want to go back in correctly. We were able to use the later O2J bolt. They're the same. So the axles are in. Now we're going to jump on to fluids, coolant, oil.
Clutch fluid.
Yeah, we're going to do the, go ahead and bleed the clutch. Yeah, so let's show you how we're going to bleed the coolant system. It is going to get a little loud. We do have a pressure bleeder. Well, a vacuum bleeder, I'm sorry. All right, we're gonna hold it down to negative 20 psi under vacuum. Want to let it sit for a little bit to check for leaks before I drop coolant in the system, and then we'll go from there. All right, now that the system has been pressurized for about, well, under vacuum for about an hour, hour and a half?
About an hour and a half.
We're gonna go ahead and do a pressure check on it. It's holding great under vacuum. Alright guys, everything's hooked up. We got the axles done. Shift link is just done. What was the last thing we worked on?
Pressure test.
Yeah, pressure test, oil, trans fluid. We got all that done. We're about ready for first start. We were having a draw issue on the power wire, so we did have to do a little bit of ingenuity. Ghetto ingenuity. But we're going to see if we can get it to start up.
So you can see your face.
Alright, Nick, you ready?
Let's see it.
I'm excited, guys. Woo!
How do you feel about it?
I'm excited too. Yeah, man. Tommy's
Well-
excited.
Tommy's back there working on my car.
I blew this little one down here and wiped the turbo.
So we're putting a new turbo on this before Helen.
That's it.
Alright guys, that's gonna be a wrap for this video, this episode. We got a few last things we gotta take care of when the stuff comes in. We're waiting on the airbox to get here. Waiting on the few parts for the exhaust. And then we do have to order the power wire so we can have not a draw on the system. Stay tuned. Catch us on the next one.